It was at my own 30th birthday dinner that my mother leaned over to my brother and whispered, "While we're all here, go change her locks." He did, and the scene he stumbled upon in my apartment detonated everything. My name is Clara Evans. I was officially 30, sitting at a table in a small bistro that I had booked and was paying for. Across from me, my mother, Eleanor, wore a smile that looked like pride, but felt like a judgment. My father, Richard, was seated beside her, a silent, nodding partner as always. My older brother, Michael, and his wife were there too. I kept repeating a mantra in my head: "This year will be different." I was wrong. I caught the whisper clear as day. I saw my father give a subtle nod of approval. "Do it after the cake," he murmured in agreement. A cold vice clamped around my chest, but I held my smile in place. I sliced into my own birthday cake, the knife steady, and handed out the plates. A few minutes later, Michael stood, fished his keys from his pocket, and made his exit. An hour passed. When he returned, his face was ashen. He looked like he'd seen a ghost. My mother leaned toward him, her voice a sharp, irritated hiss. "Well, did you get it done?" Michael swallowed hard, his gaze fixed on the floor. He refused to meet my eyes. "There's police tape on her door." Every fork froze midair. The cheerful bistro chatter faded into a dull hum. The room suddenly felt 10 degrees colder. Before we get into what happened next, do me a quick favor and hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, and drop a comment letting me know where in the world you're tuning in from. My phone lying on the table suddenly lit up. A new text message glowed on the screen. "Ms. Evans, this is Officer Ben Carter from the Denver PD. Please contact us at your earliest convenience regarding your apartment." My mother had wanted to lock me out of my own life. Instead, she had just given me the key to the truth. I didn't say goodbye. I didn't spare a glance for my mother's carefully constructed expression of concern. I simply stood up from the table, leaving my own birthday cake untouched on my plate, and walked out. The small bell above the bistro door chimed, a sickeningly cheerful sound for such a catastrophic moment. The Denver air was sharp and cold. A biting wind began to whip around me, carrying the first stinging drops of a sudden downpour. The rain hit my face, mixing with the tears I was determined not to shed. My hands trembled so violently that I fumbled with my car keys, dropping them twice onto the wet pavement before managing to unlock the door. I pulled out into the street, my thoughts a blank canvas of shock. Go change her locks. Why? For the love of God, why? I wasn't some rebellious 16-year-old. I was a 30-year-old woman. I had a career. I had a 6-year-old son. I paid every one of my bills on time. But in her mind, I was forever the difficult child, a situation that needed to be managed. My windshield wipers slapped back and forth, a frantic, rhythmic thwack, thwack, thwack. It felt like a timer counting down to some unknown disaster. I drove too fast, blowing through a yellow light that was already bleeding into red. The city lights smeared and blurred behind the sheet of rain. My mind kept snagging on Michael, my older brother. He always did what she asked, without question, always. He was the golden son. I was the difficult daughter. He received praise and approval. I received. My locks changed on my birthday. When I had given them a spare key, it was an act of trust. It was for Leo. It was in case my son Leo ever needed them, and I couldn't be there. I thought it was a key symbolizing family, a safety net. I was so naive. For my mother, it was just a tool of control. My apartment building was an old brick structure on a normally quiet downtown street. But it wasn't quiet tonight. I could see the flashing lights from 2 blocks away. Red and blue strobes slicing through the darkness, turning the pouring rain into a cascade of colored needles. 2 police cruisers were parked directly out front. I left my car double parked, hazard lights blinking, not even bothering to turn off the engine as I ran onto the sidewalk. A police officer stood near the lobby entrance. He was young, his face etched with a weariness that went beyond his years. He held a large black umbrella and took a step toward me as I approached. "Ma'am, can I help you with something?" "This is my building, my apartment," I said, my voice thin and shaky. "I'm Clara Evans. I got a text message." His expression shifted instantly, softening with something that looked like pity. "Miss Evans, I'm Officer Carter." He was the one who had texted. "Why don't we step over here under the awning?" "What happened?" I demanded, trying to peer past him at my building's front door. "My brother. He was here. He said there was police tape." Officer Carter nodded slowly, his posture radiating a practiced calm that didn't quite reach his eyes. "There was an incident, ma'am. In your apartment. Unit 4B. We got a 911 call from a neighbor who reported a disturbance. A possible B&E. My stomach plummeted. A break-in? Did they take anything? My son's things? That's the unusual part," he said, glancing down at a small, rain-spattered notepad. "We've done a preliminary sweep. The front door was forced open. The lock is completely destroyed, but nothing appears to be missing. Your television, your laptop, they're all still there. This doesn't present like a standard robbery." I sagged against the cold, damp brick wall, the chill seeping straight through my thin jacket. "My door was forced?" "Yes, ma'am. Looks like a crowbar was used. We were about to secure the scene and wait to hear from you." I just stared at him, my mind struggling to process the information. A crowbar. Michael wouldn't do that. He had a key. My thoughts were a tangled mess. "Officer," I said, fighting to keep my voice from cracking. "My brother, Michael Evans, he has a key to my apartment. He came here tonight." Officer Carter's brow furrowed. "He has a key? Did you send him over here?" "No." My voice was barely a whisper. "My mother. She told him to come. To change my locks. To lock me out." The shame of saying it out loud to a complete stranger, a police officer, was a burning lump in my throat. I braced myself for the inevitable judgment, for him to ask what I had done to deserve such a thing, but he just watched me, his gaze clear and steady. "She told him to change your locks? While you were out?" "Yes, at my birthday dinner." He was silent for a long moment, then scribbled something in his notepad. "Okay. Well, the door was already broken when your brother arrived. So Mr. Evans didn't use a key, if that's what you were thinking. He got here after the break-in. He's the one who called 911. This was too much. Too many contradictions." "Michael called the police?" "He did. He was cooperative, gave us a full statement. Seemed pretty shaken up by the whole thing." Officer Carter gestured back toward one of the cruisers. "He told us he had a key, but found the doorframe splintered. He said he looked inside, saw the state of the place, and immediately backed out and called us." "Where is he now?" "We sent him home. He said he was going back to the bistro to talk to your mother." Of course he was. He always ran back to Mom. A new, more specific kind of dread began to creep in. Someone else had broken into my apartment, and my mother had sent my brother to walk right into the middle of it. "So what happens now?" I asked, my voice numb. Can I go up?" "We need to finish processing the scene first, Ms. Evans. The forensics team is on their way. We can't let you inside just yet. We need to check for prints, any trace evidence." I just nodded, feeling hollowed out, violated. My sanctuary, the one place on earth that was just mine and Leo's. Someone had forced their way in. Do you know anyone who might want to harm you, Miss Evans? Officer Carter asked gently. An angry ex-partner? Trouble at work? No, I said without a second of hesitation. No one. I go to my job. I pick up my son from school. I come home. I don't have enemies. His radio crackled to life on his shoulder, a distorted female voice cutting through the static. Unit 7. We ran the partial print from the interior doorframe. Officer Carter unclipped the radio, holding it close. Go ahead, dispatch. We have a tentative ID subject is known to us. Sending the file to your vehicle's terminal. And Carter, the subject is already in custody. A patrol car picked him up 3 blocks from the scene about 30 minutes ago, acting erratically. The officer's expression hardened. He glanced from his radio to his cruiser and then back to me. His professional composure was gone, replaced by a look of grim seriousness. Ms. Evans, he said, his voice low and firm, you might want to sit down for this. Things just got a lot more complicated. I didn't sit. I couldn't. I stood rooted to the spot, my knuckles white as I gripped the strap of my purse, the wet pavement seeping cold through the soles of my thin dress shoes. What? What is it? Officer Carter was looking at the small laptop screen mounted in his parked cruiser. The rain hammered on the car's roof. He walked back over, holding his umbrella over both of our heads. The fingerprints we lifted from your bedroom door. They don't belong to you or your brother, he said. Who do they belong to? A man named Kevin Finch. The name hit me like a physical blow. Kevin? Kevin Finch? He works for my landlord. You know him. Carter's eyes were sharp, probing. Yes. He's the landlord's nephew or something. He does the maintenance for the whole building. He fixed a leak under my sink just last month. An image of Kevin flashed in my mind. He was wiry and quiet, with shifty eyes that never quite met mine. He always gave me the creeps. I'd mentioned my discomfort to my mother once, and she'd dismissed it, telling me I was being overly dramatic. He has a key, I whispered, the realization dawning. He must have a master key for all the apartments. We believe he used a copy, Carter corrected me. We have security footage from the hallway camera. He didn't use a master. He used a single copied key to let himself in. The neighbor in 4A reported hearing a loud crash. That must have been him using the crowbar on your bedroom door, not the front door. My blood turned to ice. My bedroom door? Why? We're not sure yet, but he's in custody. We found him 3 blocks from here, soaked from the rain, just watching. He had a crowbar in his backpack. When we ran his name, this address came up as a flag. My heart was hammering against my ribs. None of it made any sense. Why would Kevin break into my apartment and not steal anything? Why would he use a key to get in, only to smash down my bedroom door? I need to see it, I said, my voice firm. Carter hesitated. Ms. Evans, the forensics team is still working. I don't care. It's my home. I need to see what he did. He must have seen the resolve in my eyes. He let out a sigh. Okay. We've dusted the main areas for prints. You can have a look, but you can't touch anything. And stay with me. He led me into the lobby and up the 4 flights of stairs. The hallway reeked of stale carpet and old dust. We reached my door, Unit 4B. The wood around the lock was splintered and shattered. The door hung open, broken. But Carter was right. The real violation was inside. He pushed the door open the rest of the way, and I saw my home. It was just wrong. He hadn't ransacked the place. My couch was untouched. My TV was still on its stand, but a palpable energy of pure rage hung in the air. He was in my bedroom, I said, walking slowly down the short hallway. The door to my room was destroyed. The frame was split down the middle, and the door was hanging crookedly from a single hinge. He had forced his way in. I stepped over the threshold, and my breath caught in my throat. He hadn't touched my jewelry box. He hadn't taken my laptop from my desk. He had gone through my things, one by one, and turned every single photograph of me and my son, Leo, face down. A picture of Leo on his first day of kindergarten, grinning with a missing front tooth. A picture of me holding him as a newborn in the hospital. A picture of us at a local farm, picking out a pumpkin last fall. All of them, face down. It was a desecration. It was deeply, terrifyingly personal. It was a message. "What is this?" I whispered, a wave of nausea washing over me. "Why would he do this?" "I don't know, Ms. Evans," Carter said softly. I could see the anger in his own eyes now. "This was never a robbery." "No," I agreed, "it wasn't." And then I saw it, lying on my nightstand next to the row of overturned photo frames, a single plain white envelope. My name wasn't on it. "Officer?" I said, pointing. Carter nodded. He pulled a latex glove from his pocket, snapped it on, and carefully picked up the envelope. He lifted the flap. Inside was a single sheet of white paper, folded in half. He unfolded it. It was a typed message, just one sentence. "Tell your mother the truth always finds its way home." I read the words over and over. Tell your mother the truth always finds its way home. This was never about me. This was about my mother. Kevin Finch wasn't some random predator. He was connected to her. "Ms. Evans," Carter said, his voice quiet but urgent. "What does this mean? What truth?" I stared at the note, and my mother's whisper in the bistro echoed in my ears. "Go change her locks." She wasn't just trying to lock me out. She was terrified. She was scared of something inside my apartment. She sent Michael to retrieve something. But Kevin Finch, the man with the creepy eyes, her hired gun, had gotten there first. He wasn't there to steal anything from me. He was there to deliver a message. And the photos, turning them over, wasn't random vandalism. He was telling me that my world, my life with Leo, wasn't safe. He was telling me that this secret, whatever it was, had the power to shatter it. My mother's controlling anger at the bistro wasn't about me being difficult. It was raw, unadulterated panic. She knew this man. She knew about this note. "Clara?" Officer Carter said, his voice pulling me out of my spiraling thoughts. I think I know," I whispered, my whole body trembling. I think she's in serious trouble. And I think she just dragged me right into the middle of it. The police put a temporary lock on my door and sealed it with tape, but it didn't feel safe. I couldn't stay there. Not with the image of Leo's smiling face turned away from me. Not with the words of that note hanging in the air like a poisonous gas. I called my friend Chloe. She lived 15 minutes away. I didn't tell her the whole story, just that there had been a break-in and I was terrified. She told me to come over, no questions asked. I spent the night on her lumpy couch, staring at the ceiling, my mind a relentless replay of the past few hours. The bistro, the whisper, the flashing lights, the note. Tell your mother the truth always finds its way home. What truth? I woke up at 6 a.m, my neck cramped and my body humming with a deep, anxious tension. My phone was on the coffee table where I'd left it. I had silenced it before trying to sleep. Now I saw the screen was lit up. 9 missed calls, 7 from my mother, 1 from Michael, 1 from an unknown number. And a new voicemail icon was glowing insistently. It was from Officer Carter. My hands were shaking again as I pressed the button and held the phone to my ear. "Ms. Evans, this is Officer Carter. It's 5:30 a.m. I apologize for calling so early, but we have an update. We processed Kevin Finch. He's not talking about the note, but we were able to get a warrant for his financials. We traced a payment, a digital transfer made to his bank account last week, $7,500. My breath caught in my throat. Ms. Evans, Carter's voice continued, flat and professional. The payment was made from an account belonging to an Eleanor Evans. The memo line on the transfer just said maintenance. We believe your mother paid Mr. Finch. Given the note and the timing of all this, we believe she wanted something retrieved from your apartment, and he was the man she hired to get it. Please call me when you receive this. The phone slipped from my grasp and clattered onto the hardwood floor. She paid him. My mother paid the man who smashed his way into my home, the man who turned my son's pictures to the wall. The story she fed Michael, go change her locks, was a lie, a cover. She never intended for him to change the locks. She wanted him to go inside and get something. But why send Michael? And why involve Kevin? Maybe she'd asked Michael to do it, and he'd refused. No, Michael never said no to her. More likely, she sent Michael, but he was too late. Kevin Finch, her hired muscle, had double-crossed her and gotten there first. But why would her own hired man turn on her and leave that note? It didn't make sense. Unless he wasn't working for her anymore. Unless he was blackmailing her. My mind flashed back. About a month ago, I was at my parents' house. Leo was playing in the backyard, and I went up to their attic to look for some of his old baby toys. The attic was suffocatingly hot, smelling of cedar and decades of dust. As I was pulling down a big plastic bin, I accidentally knocked over another box. It was an old cardboard banker's box, the lid falling off as it hit the floor. The label read, Richard's Business. I wasn't trying to snoop. Not really. I was just cleaning up my mess. But I saw the file folder right on top, and I saw my name. Clara Evans, CE Holdings, LLC. I didn't have a holding company. A cold prickle spread across my skin. I knelt on the dusty floorboards and opened the folder. Inside were incorporation documents, property deeds for 2 condos I'd never heard of, one in Denver and one in Aspen. And there were statements for an offshore brokerage account. Everything was in my name. My signature was at the bottom of a dozen different documents, but I had never seen any of them before in my life. It wasn't my signature. It was a forgery, and it looked alarmingly like my father's handwriting. I felt sick. I just sat there, in the dust and the heat, staring at this secret financial life I apparently owned, a portfolio of assets and money I had never seen a penny of. My parents, my father, they were using me. They were using my name, my identity to hide money. I was terrified. I had no idea what to do. I didn't take the files. I took pictures, every single page, with my phone. Then I carefully put the folder back, replaced the lid on the box, and shoved it back into the corner, hiding it behind a stack of old Christmas decorations. I never said a word. I went back downstairs and played with Leo in the yard, trying to pretend I hadn't seen a thing. I told myself I must have misunderstood, that it was some bizarre but legitimate legal structure my dad had set up for me. Now, sitting on Chloe's couch in the pre-dawn light, I knew the real truth. I grabbed my phone from the floor. I went to my photo gallery and scrolled back a month. There they were, the photos. CE Holdings, LLC. The blurry, forged signatures. The bank statements from the Cayman Islands. Tell your mother the truth always finds its way home. We believe she wanted something retrieved. They knew. My parents knew I had found that box. I had no idea how, but they knew, and they were panicking. They weren't trying to control me. They were trying to hide the evidence. They were terrified that I would be the one to expose them. My mother hired a criminal to break into my apartment and find those files, or maybe just the phone that held the pictures. I called Officer Carter back. My voice was different now. It wasn't shaking, it was cold steel. Officer Carter, this is Clara Evans. I got your message. Miss Evans, I'm sorry to deliver that kind of news. Are you sure? I asked. The payment came directly from her account. Yes, ma'am. It's an airtight digital trail. It appears your mother hired him and the deal went south. He broke in and left that note as a threat. That's our current working theory. He was looking for something, I said, my voice flat. Documents. Financial documents. There was a brief silence on the other end of the line. Ms. Evans, do you have any idea what these documents might be? I stared at the pictures on my phone's screen. Yes, I said, I do. And I have them. I spent the next 2 hours with a locksmith, a real one. He installed a new heavy-duty deadbolt with a reinforced steel plate. He handed me the 2 new keys. They felt solid and real in my palm. My apartment felt different. It was clean. I had scrubbed the floor where Kevin Finch had walked. I had turned every single one of my photos of Leo back upright, arranging them carefully on the dresser. His school picture, his gap-toothed smile. This was my home. This was my life, not theirs. I sat on my couch, the new key cool against my skin. I thought about Officer Carter. He had asked me to come down to the station to bring the photos, but not yet. There was one thing I needed to do first. I had to see her face when she said it. I had to hear her voice. I picked up my phone. I opened a new text message to my mother. My thumbs hovered over the keyboard. I didn't type asterisk, "Hi, Mom." I didn't ask. Why? I simply typed, "Dinner. My place. 7 p.m. No more games." I hit send. The 3 little dots indicating she was typing appeared almost instantly. She'd been waiting by her phone. Her reply was just as blunt. "Fine, but you better be ready for the truth." Her truth. Oh, I was ready for the truth. The hours ticked by in slow motion. I made coffee I didn't drink. I folded laundry that was already clean. I just kept moving, keeping my hands busy. I was girding myself for battle. I wasn't their daughter tonight. I wasn't the victim. I was the one holding all the cards. At 6:55 p.m., my intercom buzzed. I pressed the talk button. "It's me." My mother's voice was sharp and tinny through the speaker. I buzzed her in. I stood by my new deadbolt and waited, my heart a slow, heavy drum. I heard her footsteps on the stairs. Quick, sharp, angry steps. She didn't bother knocking. She just twisted the handle, expecting the door to be unlocked for her. Of course. She knocked, a hard, impatient rap, rap, rap. I turned the deadbolt. The sound was loud and satisfying in the small apartment. I opened the door. There she was, Eleanor Evans, dressed immaculately as always. Black trousers, a silk blouse, her hair perfectly coiffed, her expensive perfume, the same scent she'd worn my entire life, billowed into my apartment, trying to claim the space as her own. Her eyes went straight to the new lock, the gleaming silver deadbolt. "What did you do?" she demanded. "No hello." "I changed the locks," I said. I stepped back, leaving the door open. She swept past me, and her eyes began to scan everything. The clean floors, the laptop on my coffee table. She was searching. She was looking for the files. "You should not have involved the police, Clara," she said, turning to face me with her arms crossed. She was here to scold me. "You shouldn't have hired a criminal, Mom." Her expression didn't flicker, but her eyes hardened. "I don't know what you're talking about. I hired that man, Kevin, to fix your leaking dishwasher. He's a troubled young man. He must have made a copy of the key. This is what happens when you insist on living in these buildings." The lie was so practiced, so smooth, I didn't raise my voice, I just leaned against the kitchen counter. He didn't use a key, Mom. He used a crowbar on my bedroom door, and the police have the bank transfer. $7,500 with the memo maintenance. That's quite a lot for a dishwasher. The silence in the room was thick and heavy. It stretched for what felt like an eternity. She slowly uncrossed her arms. Her mask of maternal irritation was gone. Now all I saw was the raw fear I had glimpsed at the bistro. "You don't understand," she whispered. She sat on my couch, perching on the very edge of the cushion. You have no idea what is at stake." "Then make me understand," I said. "Those papers," she said, her voice turning sharp again. "The box in the attic. You had no business being in there. Those papers are not yours." "They have my name on them." "It's complicated," she snapped. "It's your father's business. Kevin was supposed to retrieve them. He was just supposed to get them before you did something stupid." I just stared at her. The confession was just there. She said it. She hired him to break into my home, to steal from me. "Stupid," I repeated. "You mean like going to the police? Like asking why my name is forged on documents for offshore bank accounts?" Her face went bone white, paler than I had ever seen it. "He told you. That lowlife Kevin, he told you." "Kevin didn't tell me anything," I said. "He just left a note. I found the files a month ago, Mom." She stood up, the fear instantly replaced by a chilling ice. "I was protecting you," she said. "You were protecting him," I shot back, my voice trembling, but not with fear, with rage. "You were protecting Dad. You were protecting your money. You were protecting your web of lies. You are a part of this family, Clara." "No," I said, "I'm not. I'm your cover story. I'm the name you used to hide your dirty money. I'm the daughter you sent a criminal after." She walked toward me, her face tight with a fury I had known my entire life. "You think you're so clever. You found a few pieces of paper. You have no idea what you are messing with. You could ruin your father. You could ruin this entire family." "You ruined this family," I said. "You did this, not me." She stopped just a foot in front of me, her eyes like chips of ice. "You wanted the truth, Clara. Here it is. Yes, we were hiding things, and you are going to give those photos to me, right now. Or I will make you." I looked at the woman who was my mother, the woman threatening me in my own home after sending a man to smash it down. "No," I said. Her mask didn't just slip, it shattered. My no hung in the air between us. It was a small word, but it was a brick wall. It was a sound my mother had never really heard from me, not when it truly mattered. Her face twisted. The ice didn't melt, it cracked. "I will make you," she had said. "How?" I asked. My voice was quiet, which seemed to enrage her more than if I had screamed. "How?" she repeated, her voice rising to a shrill pitch. "How do you think? You have a son. You have a job. You have this little life you've built. All of it is so very fragile, Clara. I can break it. I can make one phone call to Child Protective Services. I can tell them you're unstable, that you're involved in your father's financial mess. I can tell them you're an unfit mother. Who do you think they will believe? You or me?" There it was, the nuclear option, the threat she had held over my head my entire life. Leo, my son, my whole world. I felt the blood drain from my face. I suddenly felt dizzy. She would do it. I knew with absolute certainty that she would. She would burn my entire life to the ground to save herself. "You would take Leo from me. I would protect him," she spat, her voice like acid. "From you. From this mess you're about to make. You've always been this way, so dramatic, so selfish. You found something you didn't understand and now you want to play with it like it's a toy. Give me the phone, Clara. She held out her hand, her manicured nails a perfect blood red. A strange, cold calm washed over me. The fear was still there, a knot in my stomach, but it was buried under something new. It was buried under a deep, hard, clean anger. She was right. I was fragile. She could hurt me. But she was wrong about one thing. I wasn't playing. I glanced at my phone, sitting on the kitchen counter between us. Then I looked back at her. You think I'm stupid, I said. I think you're emotional, she retorted. You're just like you were at 17. You think you know everything and you know nothing. Your father built an empire. He did it for us, for this family, for you, so you would never have to struggle. And this is how you repay him? By threatening to send him to prison? He used my name, I said, my voice gaining strength. He protected you. He put assets in your name so that one day they would be yours. This is what wealthy families do, Clara. You wouldn't understand the first thing about it. You'd rather live in this tiny, damp apartment and pretend you're morally superior. She was pacing now, a caged tiger in my small kitchen. Her suffocating perfume was making it hard to breathe. All you had to do was nothing, she went on, her voice venomous. Just be quiet. Just live your little life. But you couldn't resist. You had to snoop. You had to go into that attic. You had to dig. You're just like my sister. Ungrateful. I thought of my Aunt Sarah, the sister my mother hadn't spoken to in 20 years, the ungrateful sister who had moved across the country just to get away from her. My thumb moved on the side of my phone. I casually slid it off the counter. My hand was shaking, so I kept it low by my side. I pressed the volume up button and then the power button. The screen lit up. I tapped the icon for the voice recorder. I pressed the big red button. I held the phone loosely at my side, the microphone pointing up. Tell me again, Mom, I said. My voice trembled. I hated that. Tell you what? She snapped. Tell you that you're a fool? Tell me what you'll do if I don't give you the photos. She stopped pacing. She gave me a long, cold stare. I will not let you destroy your father. I will not let you destroy this family. I will do whatever it takes. I will call CPS. I will tell them Leo is not safe with you. I will tell them you're unstable, that you're paranoid. I have friends, Clara. I have influence. Who do you have? Chloe? That little friend of yours who works in a coffee shop? It will be my word against yours, and I will win. I just stared at her. I let her words fill the room. I let the small digital microphone drink them all in, every last poisonous syllable. You're wrong about something, Mom, I said, my voice stronger now. Oh? And what's that? You said those papers, the LLCs, the offshore accounts. You said Dad put them in my name for me. He did. No, I said. He put them in my name to hide them from the IRS. He used my social security number without my permission. He forged my signature on legal documents. That's not a gift, Mom. That's multiple felonies. That's identity fraud. And by your own admission, you're an accessory to it. Her face went completely blank. The anger vanished, replaced by that pure, white-hot panic I'd seen at the bistro. She finally understood. I didn't just find some papers. I understood exactly what they meant. What have you done? She whispered. It wasn't a question. It was a terrified plea. I learned how to stop being your pawn, I said. She looked at me, and I saw it. True fear, not of me, but of what I represented, the end of her world. But the fear was fleeting. Her old, familiar armor slammed back into place. Fury. You wouldn't dare, she hissed. You wouldn't dare turn on your own family. I took a step back. I thought of my 30th birthday. I thought of her whisper. I thought of my splintered door. I thought of Leo's picture, face down on my dresser. "You did," I said. "You turned on me first. You sent a criminal to my home. You threatened to take my son." A loud clap of thunder rattled the windows. The rain, which had subsided, began to pour again, lashing against the glass. It was as if the sky was seconding the motion. The sound broke the spell. Eleanor's mask didn't just slip, it was gone. Her face was contorted with pure, unfiltered hatred. It was the face of a cornered animal. "You'll regret this, Clara," she said, her voice low and dangerous. "You will regret this for the rest of your life." She turned, snatched her purse from the couch, and stalked to the door. She didn't slam it. She pulled it open, paused in the doorway, and looked back at me one last time. "You were always a mistake," she said. Then she was gone. The door clicked shut, leaving me alone in the sudden silence. I stood there, my legs shaking so badly I had to grip the edge of the counter to stay upright. The only sounds were the drumming of the rain and the faint hiss of the voice recorder app still running on my phone. I looked down at it. I pressed the stop button. The file saved. Recording 01. I slowly sank to the floor. I didn't cry. I just clutched my phone to my chest. "Maybe," I whispered to the empty room, "but at least it will be my regret to live with." I didn't sleep. I couldn't. The first thing I did was call Chloe. "Can you keep Leo one more night? Please don't ask why, I need to know he's safe." Chloe didn't hesitate. "Of course. Clara, what is going on? Are you okay?" "I will be," I said. "I promise. I have to do something really hard tomorrow. Tell him I love him. Tell him I'll see him tomorrow afternoon." I hung up and sat on my couch. The new deadbolt on my door looked strong, but I still dragged my heavy armchair in front of it. I felt like a child building a fort against the monsters under the bed. But my mother was real. I listened to the recording. "I will call Child Protective Services. I will tell them Leo isn't safe with you. I will tell them you're unstable. It will be my word against yours, and I will win." I listened to it 3 times. Each time, I felt a wave of sickness. But each time, I also felt a surge of validation. It wasn't in my head. It wasn't a misunderstanding. It wasn't me being dramatic. It was a threat. It was a confession. It was the truth. I spent the rest of the night assembling my arsenal. I didn't just have the photos on my phone. When I was in the attic that day, I had panicked. I took pictures, yes. But just before I left, I had also grabbed the main folder. The one with my name on it. The one with the original physically forged incorporation documents. I had shoved it under my sweater, walked out of that house with my heart pounding, and hidden it at the very bottom of my own closet. I pulled out the folder now. Clara Evans, CE Holdings, LLC. I placed it on my coffee table. Next to it, I put my phone, displaying the photos of the other files I had left behind. Next to that, I put the white envelope Kevin Finch had left. "Tell your mother the truth always finds its way home." I looked at the small pile of evidence. This was my mother's truth, a sordid pile of lies, fraud, and threats. The next morning, the rain had stopped. The sky was a pale, washed-out gray. I didn't put on makeup. I didn't try to look presentable. I wore jeans and a plain gray sweater. I put the folder and the envelope in my backpack. I slipped my phone into my pocket. It felt like I was walking to my own execution, or maybe my own birth. I wasn't sure which. I drove to the Financial Crimes Division of the Denver Police Department. It was a boring concrete building you'd never notice. The lobby smelled of stale coffee and was bathed in the hum of fluorescent lights. I walked up to the thick glass window. "I'm here to see Officer Carter," I said. "My name is Clara Evans." The officer behind the glass checked a list. "He's expecting you. Go on through, 3rd floor." Officer Carter met me by the elevators. He was out of uniform, wearing a rumpled suit. He looked tired. "Ms. Evans," he said, shaking my hand. His grip was firm and dry. "Thanks for coming in. We have a room." He led me to a small, windowless interview room with a table and 4 chairs. It was freezing. "Coffee?" he asked. "No, thank you," I said, sitting down. He sat across from me and opened his own thin file. "So, on the phone, you said you had the documents Kevin Finch was likely looking for. The ones your mother hired him to retrieve?" "Yes," I said. I pulled the folder from my backpack and slid it across the metal table. "And I have more." He opened the folder and began to read. His eyebrows shot up. He looked at me. This is your signature?" "It's a forgery," I said. "I found this in my parents' attic a month ago. They've been using my identity to hide assets. For years, it looks like." He turned the pages slowly, his expression growing more grim with each one. He noted the offshore account numbers, the property deeds. "This is a state and federal case, Ms. Evans. This is significant." "I know," I said, "and there's more." I pulled out the envelope. "This is the note he left." He read it and nodded. "This connects Finch directly to these files. He wasn't just threatening your mother randomly. He was threatening her with this." "Yes," I said. "And then she threatened me." I placed my phone on the table. "My mother came to my apartment last night. She tried to coerce me into giving her these files. I recorded the conversation." Carter looked from the phone to me. His expression was impossible to read. It was professional, but his eyes were kind. "Are you certain you want to do this?" he asked softly. I thought of Leo. I thought of the splintered wood of my bedroom door. I thought of her voice on the recording, dripping with venom. I thought of her final words to me. "You were always a mistake." "I'm done being their cover story," I said. I pressed play. We sat in that cold, sterile room and listened. We listened to my mother's voice, cultured and cruel, fill the air. We listened to her threats. We listened to her admissions of conspiracy. We listened to her detailed plan to take my son away from me. When it was over, Grant pressed stop. He was silent for a full minute, looking down at the evidence spread on the table. Finally, he looked up at me. "This is airtight," he said, his voice quiet. "The bank transfer to Finch, the note, these financial documents, and this recording, it's a complete case." He explained what would happen next. He would file the report. A detective from the fraud division would take my official, on-the-record statement. The district attorney's office would review everything. Warrants would be issued. "Because you are the clear victim of the identity fraud," he said, "and because we have this recording of her threat against you, you will be cleared completely. You're a cooperating witness, not a suspect." He paused. "This is going to be hard, Ms. Evans. It will likely get into the papers. Your family, they will face very serious charges: forgery, tax evasion, conspiracy, identity theft. And now, with this recording, witness tampering and extortion." I just nodded. I felt empty, but not in a bad way. I felt light. I let out a long, slow breath I felt like I had been holding for 30 years. "Good," I said. "I'm done carrying their sins for them." The waiting was the worst part. For 3 weeks, nothing happened on the surface. I took Leo to the park. I went to work. I bought groceries. I smiled at my neighbors. My life looked exactly the same, but underneath it all, a bomb was ticking. I lived in constant fear of my phone ringing. Every time it buzzed, my heart would seize. I was waiting for my mother to show up at my door, for my father to call and scream at me, for Michael to break down my door, demanding to know what I'd done. But there was only a heavy, terrifying silence. They had to know. Their lawyers must have informed them an investigation was underway. They were waiting too. The storm finally broke on a Tuesday morning. I was at my desk at work, finishing a report. My phone buzzed. It wasn't a call, it was a news alert from a local Denver app. With a trembling thumb, I tapped the screen. The headline was huge and in bold black letters. Prominent Denver couple under federal investigation for fraud, tax evasion. Daughter is alleged victim. My picture was there, a small old one from a company website, and next to it, a big smiling photo of my parents from some charity gala. I stared at it. Daughter is alleged victim. It was real. It was public. My office phone rang. It was HR. Clara, can you come to my office for a moment? I walked through the quiet office. Everyone was staring at their computer screens. No one would look at me, but I could feel their eyes on my back. I sat down in the HR manager's office. She looked deeply uncomfortable. Clara, this news, we want to make sure you're okay. The article states that you're a victim. Yes, I said, my voice hoarse. I am. I was the one who reported it. Her eyes widened. Oh, she said. Well, please take the rest of the day. Take the week if you need it. We are here to support you. I walked out, grabbed my bag, and didn't look at anyone. I got in my car and drove straight to Leo's school. Even though it was hours before pickup, I just sat in the parking lot, staring at the chain-link fence, just needing to be close to him. The fallout was swift and brutal. I didn't watch the local news or read the articles, but it was impossible to escape. My father resigned from his firm 2 days later, citing personal reasons in a public statement. My mother simply vanished. Her perfectly curated social media accounts, her Facebook, her Instagram, filled with photos of charity events and her immaculate garden, were deleted. She was just gone. The family friends who used to kiss my cheek at Christmas parties didn't call, not a single one. It was as if I had died, or worse, like I had become contaminated. Chloe was my only anchor. She showed up at my apartment with 2 bags of groceries and a bottle of wine. She didn't ask a single question about what happened. She just said, "I'm making pasta. You're going to eat." And I loved her for it. A week after the story broke, I got the text I had been dreading. It was from Michael, my brother. I was on the floor with Leo, building a castle out of blocks. My phone buzzed on the coffee table. I picked it up. "Eric, you ruined us. You ruined everything. Dad is broken. They're going to lose the house. They're going to lose everything. All because of you. I will never forgive you. I hope you're happy now." I read it once, then a second time. You ruined us. Not, they ruined themselves. Not, what they did was wrong. You. He still saw me as the problem, not the forgery, not the fraud, not the threats. Me, the truth. In that moment, I felt the last little piece of my old life snap. The tiny, stupid, hopeful part of me that thought my brother might finally see the light. That he would finally, for once, choose me. He didn't. He chose them. He chose the lie. Leo looked up at me, his brow furrowed. "Mommy, are you sad?" I wiped at a tear on my cheek that I hadn't even felt fall. "Yes, baby," I whispered. "But it's going to be okay." Let's finish this tower. I put the phone down. I picked up a blue block. I never replied to Michael's text. A week after that, my phone rang. It was Officer Carter. "Ms. Evans," he said. His voice was professional, but I could hear the warmth underneath it. "I'm calling to let you know the DA has officially filed charges. The case will proceed. Your parents' lawyers are already in plea negotiations." "Okay," I said, my voice quiet. "I also wanted to tell you that as far as this case is concerned, you're clear. You're free." "Thank you, officer," I said, "for everything, for believing me." "You did the right thing, Ms. Evans. It took incredible courage." We hung up. I stood in my kitchen. The apartment was quiet. Leo was at preschool. For my entire life, silence had been a weapon used against me. The silence of my mother's disapproval, the silence of my father's neglect, the empty, lonely silence of my childhood. But this silence, this was different. This silence was peaceful. It wasn't empty. It was mine. It was 6 months later. The trial was over before it began. My parents took a plea deal. My father's name was ruined. He was sentenced to 2 years in a low-security federal prison. My mother, for her cooperation and because of the witness tampering charge I had against her, received 5 years of probation and a massive fine. She was not allowed to contact me or Leo. It was a non-negotiable condition of her probation, a court-ordered wall. I had read about it in the news. I hadn't attended a single hearing. I was done. Life was just life. It was quiet. It was small. And it was good. I was picking Leo up from a doctor's appointment, just a regular checkup. He was 6 now, and he had a new gap in his front teeth. He came running out of the doctor's office, clutching a piece of paper, his face beaming. Mom, I got a gold star," he yelled, launching himself into my arms. He was getting so big. I scooped him up. "You did. Let me see." "What for?" "For being brave. The nurse said I was the bravest kid today. I didn't even cry for the shot." I kissed the top of his head. He smelled like bubblegum toothpaste and playground dirt. My heart felt so full it ached. "You are the bravest kid I know," I said, hugging him tight. He proudly held up his sticker, a shiny holographic gold star. I smiled, my eyes suddenly wet. "So did I, baby," I whispered so quietly he couldn't hear. "You just can't see mine yet." That night I hosted a small dinner. It wasn't a party, it was just us. My apartment was warm and smelled of roasted chicken and garlic. Chloe was there. My friend from work, Maria, who had stood by me through everything, was there. And Leo, who was allowed to have ginger ale in a fancy wine glass. It was the complete opposite of my last birthday dinner. No one was whispering. No one was pretending. We were all just squeezed around my small kitchen table, laughing. Leo was telling a long, convoluted story about a squirrel at his school. Chloe raised her glass of wine. "I'd like to make a toast," she said, her eyes finding mine. We all quieted down. Leo proudly lifted his ginger ale. "To freedom," Chloe said simply. Maria raised her glass. "To freedom." I lifted mine. The word felt so big, so resonant. It meant so many things. Freedom from their control, freedom from their secrets, freedom from the fear, freedom from the lifelong identity of being the difficult daughter. "And," I added, my voice soft but steady, "to never having to apologize for protecting yourself." Chloe smiled and tapped her glass against mine. "I'll drink to that." We ate. We talked about silly, wonderful, normal things. About movies we wanted to see. About a funny email at work. About Leo's loose tooth. There was no drama. There were no hidden agendas. It was just easy. Later, after Leo was asleep, Chloe and I sat on the couch, finishing the wine. "How are you?" she asked. Really asked. "I'm good," I said, and I was shocked to realize I meant it. I'm okay. It's still strange. I feel like an orphan sometimes, but... You're not an orphan, she said, putting her hand on my arm. You're just the start of a new line. I looked at her. The start of a new line. I liked that. For the first time in my entire life, sitting there in my own small apartment, with my son sleeping peacefully in his bed and my friend by my side, I felt like I truly belonged somewhere. It wasn't a big, fancy house. It wasn't a powerful family name. It was just this small circle of light, and it was real. The next morning, I woke up before Leo. The sun was just beginning to rise. It was a Saturday. I made coffee and stood by my window, watching the city wake up. The Denver sky was a pale, promising blue. The gray was finally breaking. There was one last thing to do. I went to my desk and pulled out a plain, legal-sized envelope. I opened my closet. Taped to the very back wall, behind my winter coats, was one document. The original signed incorporation agreement, the very first one I had found. The one that started it all. The Clara Evans, CE Holdings, LLC file. I had kept it. I had given the police copies, but I held on to the original. It was my insurance policy, my last little piece of fear. What if they get out? What if they try again? I had held on to this just in case. I didn't need it anymore. I wasn't afraid. I was free. I folded the document and slid it into the envelope. I sealed the flap. I wrote the address on the front. Office of the District Attorney, Asset Forfeiture and Fraud Division. No return address, no note, no explanation, just the truth. It wasn't for revenge. It wasn't to hurt them anymore. It was to let go. It was to give away the last piece of their sin that I was holding. I put on my shoes and walked quietly out of my apartment. The morning air was cool and clean. I walked the 2 blocks to the blue corner mailbox. I held the letter over the slot. "This ends here," I whispered. I let it go. I heard the soft thud as it landed at the bottom of the box. I turned and walked home. I felt lighter. I felt finished. When I got back, Leo was awake. He was sitting at the kitchen table in his pajamas, his hair a wild mess, rubbing the sleep from his eyes. "Good morning, sleepyhead," I smiled. "Mommy?" He yawned. "Can we have pancakes?" I went to the fridge and pulled out the eggs and the milk. I felt a surge of joy, so simple and so pure. It almost made me cry. It was the joy of a normal Saturday. "We can," I said, "with chocolate chips." He grinned, his beautiful gap-toothed grin. I looked at my son, my real family, my future, the start of my new line. "Always," I said, and started mixing the batter. He chattered away as I cooked. Outside, the sun finally broke free of the gray clouds. Golden light spilled into my kitchen, illuminating the dust motes dancing in the air like tiny stars. For the first time in my life, my world felt clean. It wasn't built on secrets. It wasn't built on fear. It was being rebuilt, piece by piece, with freedom.